Hello everyone, I'm Anas Al-Ubaidi and we are in lecture 2 or session 2 from chapter 13 of the Advanced Medical Science Liaison and Medical Monitor Certification course program by CCRPS. And chapter 13, it's about the specialized monitoring areas as our topic for this chapter, for this session. And this chapter for this session is about the monitoring device and drug trials. As for introduction, monitoring in a clinical trial serves as a critical mechanism for maintaining participant patient safety, ensuring data integrity, and adhering to an evolving landscape of regulatory compliance. It systematically observes trial processes to verify that study protocols are followed, adverse events, AEs are addressed promptly, instantly, and high-quality data is collected. While drug and device trials share the foundational principles of GCP, good clinical practice, the unique characteristics of each type demand tailored monitoring approaches. Clinical drug trials tend to be global in scale, involving large heterogeneous population samples over extended periods. A focus on pharmacokinetics, PK, pharmacodynamics, PD, and long-term safety underscores the need for continuous monitoring of intricate biochemical interactions. Conversely, device trials often involve smaller participant cohorts in comparison, but require rigorous technical assessments to ensure device functionality and biocompatibility. Challenges such as technical malfunctions and usability require monitors to oversee device-specific parameters and patient interaction with the investigational device. So here, instead of investigational product or investigational drug or medication, would be investigational device. Regulatory requirements further distinguish drug and device trials. While drug trials adhere to strict documentation mandates such as CFR Part 312 and ICH GCP standards, device trials in comparison are governed by standards like CFR Part 8 to 12 and ISO 14155 or 14155. And this is a difference in the standards or the laws or regulations that govern each, whether investigational trial for investigational drug or trial for investigational uh, device. As ICH GCP and CFR Part 312, 312 for investigational drug or medication trial, while for what governs the investigational device kind of trial, CFR Part 812 or 812 and ISO 14155, which address performance, usability, and risk management unique to medical devices. So monitoring professionals must adapt their strategies to account for these differences, balancing on-site evaluations, centralized reviews, and new advancements such as virtual monitoring technologies. Key points here: definition and importance of monitoring, as monitoring in clinical trials encompasses the ongoing review of trial activities to ensure the study adheres to protocol, collects accurate data, and protects participant safety. Significance of monitoring, as we have the patient participant safety, ensures adverse events, AEs, and serious adverse events, SAEs, are detected and addressed promptly, instantly. Example: identifying increased hepatic enzyme levels in participants, in subjects, or in patients receiving an experimental hepatitis drug early prevents potential toxicity escalation. Data integrity ensures accurate collection, processing, and reporting of studied data, minimizing incomplete or erroneous entries, as for example, correcting inconsistent timestamps in electronic case report forms, ECRFs, during a remote data review ensures protocol adherence. Regulatory compliance aligns clinical trials with international guidelines such as ICH GCP, International Council for Harmonizations, Good Clinical Practice ISO 14155, and federal regulations, CFR Part 312 for drugs, while Part 812 for devices. Example, a cardiac pacemaker study ensures biocompatibility testing compliance under ISO 14155 and CFR Part 812 because it's device. It is a device. And here is a diagram unveiling the dimensions of clinical trial monitoring. As monitoring clinical trials, we have the participant, patient safety, data integrity, regulatory compliance. Distinctions between drug and device trial monitoring. Drug and device trials require monitoring tailored to their unique attributes, from participant characteristics to regulatory scrutiny. And key differences here, we have the aspect, the drug trials and device trials for each. And here the aspects, we have regulations, scale, major risk, study scope, and examples. Examples for drug trials, we have anti-cancer drugs, anti-diabetics, while for device trials, cardiac pacemaker, like the previous example, wearable glucose monitors as well. Applications and monitors. So drug trial example as monitoring an antihypertensive therapy involves reviewing global recruitment logs and PK pharmacokinetic or kinetics profiles to ensure dosage efficacy across regions. And pharmacokinetics to differentiate it from pharmacodynamics, as kinetics is how the medication or the investigational product goes inside the human body or the participant's patient's body, as study the ADME as A for absorption, D for distribution, M for metabolism, while E for excretion. While in compared to pharmacodynamics are the signs and symptoms that will appear on the patient or on the participant while taking the medication or the investigational or the study investigation product or study medication. While device trial example here, ensuring the functionality and durability of a surgical robotic tool by tracking error reports from trial participants. Here is a diagram which trial mentioning that which trial type requires more focused monitoring strategies as drug trial versus device trial. Drug trial focus on global recruitment, patient recruitment and dosage efficacy, while device trial emphasize functionality and error tracking because it's a device. Key monitoring techniques. We'll start with on-site monitoring, description, physical inspection of source data, drug device storage facilities, and participant or patient documentation at clinical trial sites. Example, inspecting the temperature controls of investigational drug or product IP storage units during site visits. This is in person. Remote monitoring, description, electronic data portals enable real-time centralized monitoring from anywhere, minimizing logistical burdens. As for example, reviewing electronic case report forms, ECRFs, remotely to identify inconsistent adverse event AE documentation. While centralized monitoring here, we have the description, aggregated clinical data from multiple sites enables anomaly checks and trend analysis through dashboards. Example, a centralized monitoring tool detects that a single site reports significantly delayed patient visit entries compared to others. RBM risk-based monitoring description prioritizes monitoring efforts on high-risk activities or sites to optimize resource allocation. Example, a device trial identifies a site where participants frequently report device malfunctions, promptly intensified oversight. Then we have the adverse event monitoring, as description tracks adverse events, AEs, to ensure timely participant interventions and risk mitigation measures. Example, AE, adverse event logs prompt additional safety checks for an oncology drug trial showing high serious adverse event SAE rates in elderly patients. And here we have a diagram showing clinical trial monitoring techniques, on-site monitoring, remote monitoring, centralized monitoring, and then risk-based monitoring. Challenges in monitoring. Despite of the order, we have the protocol variability. Issues sites differ in implementing detailed procedures, often leading to inconsistencies. Solution is to develop and distribute comprehensive SOPs, standard operating procedures, across all study locations. Data security risks issue which could be increased reliance on electronic systems heightens the risk of data breaches. Solution is to implement robust cybersecurity protocols, including encrypted communication, and role-based access. Another challenge like staff expertise gaps issue could be small investigational teams often lack technical expertise in sophisticated device trials. Solution for that is to deliver targeted training that enables teams to handle complex device protocols effectively. Logistics of global trials issue could be geographic dispersion, details a high travel cost for monitoring remote sites. Solution could be leverage hybrid approaches, combining on-site visits with remote digital oversight. Here's a diagram addressing monitoring challenges as protocol variability, data security risks, staff expertise or expertise gaps, logistics of global trials. Recent advancements in monitoring. Digital data capture systems eliminates manual data entry errors, integrating directly with electronic platforms, as for example, wearables automatically upload patient glucose data into electronic data capture EDC repositories for real-time review. The blockchain technology, as in audit trail systems, offers secure, verifiable data audit trails by timestamping uploads and amendments. Example, regulatory approvals for a trial protocol amendment are time-stamped on blockchain to ensure transparency. Risk dashboards benefit is to highlight potential risks in real time, improving response efficiency. Example, alerts flag deviations from protocol mandated visit windows on oncology trial or in oncology trials. Virtual monitoring tools benefit ensures investigator oversight when physical travel is restricted, such as during pandemics, as for example. Example here, live video inspections validate proper device calibration in Asia-based trial centers. Here's a diagram exploring modern monitoring techniques. As recent advancements in monitoring, we have the digital data capture systems, blockchain technology for audit trail, risk dashboards, and virtual monitoring tools. As for instance, it was applied through the pandemic. Applications in practice, we have the monitoring practice and the application example. And the monitoring practices that were applied, like risk-based monitoring, RBM, the device-specific evaluation, data accuracy oversight, blockchain implementation, and virtual site monitoring. So by combining proven methodologies with advancements like decentralized trials, AE, artificial intelligence powered platforms, and hybrid monitoring strategies, advanced monitors can ensure both investigational drugs or investigational products, IPs, and devices meet compliance standards while protecting participants, patients, and improving trial outcomes. Upcoming tables are tables to summarize what we have covered in this lecture. As table 1, this table key is about the key goals of monitoring clinical trials, the goal, description, example, impact, solution. As goals here, participant safety, data integrity, compliance, risk minimization, resource optimization. Another table about the drug trials versus device trials, key distinctions as aspect, drug trials, device trials, key challenge and regulatory requirements, aspects, participant scale, focus, data volume, endpoint types, and study design complexity. Another table about monitoring techniques, technique, description, examples, strengths, and then weaknesses as techniques on-site monitoring, remote monitoring, centralized monitoring, RBM, risk-based monitoring, adverse event AE monitoring. Table about the challenges in clinical trial monitoring. The challenge drug trials example, Device trials example, impact solutions. So the challenge is protocol adherence, data security, long follow-up periods, site capabilities, regulatory heterogeneity. Advancements in monitoring, advancement function, drug trials application, device trials application, and then key outcomes as advancements, digital data capture, real-time risk dashboards, blockchain integration, virtual monitoring tools, and wearable technologies. Application table scenarios for each scenario, the key principle that was applied, key actions, timeline, and what to watch out for. Scenarios like rising hepatic enzyme levels, missing tumor data from imaging, device malfunction in pacemaker trials, patient recruitment for rare disease, electronic case report form, ECRF data entry errors, site consistency for multi-region trials, and endpoint modification mid-trial. Continuing with scenarios, remote oversight of wearable devices, high AE adverse event incidence in localized sites, and regulatory audit preparation. In order to revise what we have covered, we have the some MCQs, multiple choice questions. Question 1, what is the primary monitoring focus in drug trials? A, technical functionality of devices, pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics, and long-term safety, verification of biocompatibility metrics, or D, usability metrics for trial participants. So definitely it's B. It's about drug trials, pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics, and long-term safety as of B. Drug trials focus on understanding how a drug affects the body, pharmacodynamics, how it's processed in the body, pharmacokinetics, and ensuring its safety over extended periods. Other options are related to device trials. Question 2, which regulation governs the monitoring of investigational medical device, not drug, device trials? A, CFR Part 312, B, ISO 14155, CFR Part 812, or ICH GCP D, which is ICH GCP. No, the answer is C. Not C, is C, CFR Part 812. CFR Part 812, not 312, not 312, because CFR Part 312, 312 is for drug, investigational drug, medication, 312 CFR. So not A. If what question was drug, investigational drug, study medication, then 312A, but here it's C, CFR Part 812. So CFR Part 812 outlines the requirements for medical device trials, including study monitoring. CFR Part 312 relates to the drug trials, while ISO 14155 and ICH GCP provide additional guidelines. So here is the confusion might be, because we said also, we mentioned about the device, ISO 14155. But the main one is CFR Part 812. However, B will be additional. So B is correct, but it's not. So whoever says B, ISO 14155, is not wrong, is not false. It is correct, but it is an additional to C, CFR Part 8 to 12. The main one is C. B is an additional. So the question here is which one is the most correct answer, or one very much correct answer from the four choices will be C, Part 812 of CFR, but B is still correct, but not the most correct answer, because B will be an addition. ISO 14155 will be an additional guidelines to C. The same applies to D, as D also additional guidelines, not only to C, but to C and A, as ICH GCP has to be followed whether with any trial, whether for a device or drug. So the most correct answer, the only most correct answer, or the one most correct answer would be C. However, B and D is additional to C, as well as additional to C. B and D is additional to C for the device investigational devices trials, and D will be an additional to A, which applies to the investigational drug or medication trials. So the answer is C. Question 3, what is a common challenge specific to device trials? Common challenge: A, recruitment of large participant pools, tracking adverse drug reactions; C, assessing technical failures and usability; or D, documenting long-term therapeutic effects. So definitely it's C, technical failures and usability. Device trials often require monitoring the functionality and usability of the device, unlike drug trials, which focus on adverse drug reactions or long-term effects. Question 4, how does risk-based monitoring RBM benefit clinical trials? A, by ensuring routine checks across all sites equally; B, by eliminating on-site visits entirely; C, through allocation of monitoring efforts to high-risk areas; or D, by replacing centralized monitoring techniques. So it is C, RBM, as through allocation of monitoring efforts, directing the efforts, locating the efforts to high-risk areas. So C, RBM optimizes resources or resource allocation by prioritizing oversight where risks are the highest, improving efficiency without compromising trial quality. Question 5, what is the following advance? Which of the following advancements enhances data collection accuracy in clinical trials? Is it A, traditional paper logs; B, manual site inspections online; C, digital data capture with ECRFs; or D, eliminating participant feedback? So it is not A or B, not traditional paper logs, not manual site inspections only. No, neither one of those. Those traditional approaches, but not recent advancements. Eliminating participant, no. D will be a huge mistake. So it is C, as it is talking about the accuracy in data collection. Enhancement in that particular part will be digital data capture with ECRFs. So C is the answer, as digital systems like ECRFs reduce manual errors and ensure quick, accurate, and real-time data entry, improving trial oversight dramatically. Other options fail to address accuracy improvements. And here we come to the end of this lecture. Thank you very much and goodbye.